Almost a year ago, I decided to make the full switch from being a console gamer to a PC gamer. Since then, I've got to discover a bunch of really new fun games, a bunch of things that I would have never got to experience on a console, and I've also been able to learn a little more about how computers work and tinker with that. One thing I really like about PC gaming is having the flexibility of using a machine for multiple purposes. If you watch a couple of my other videos, you'll know I have an NZXT H1 pre-built PC. I bought this PC used. It came with a heating problem where it wouldn't cool off the chip properly, and all that was a clogged up radiator. So I got that cleaned up and now it's working flawlessly. One thing that was always in the back of my mind was the idea of getting a Steam Deck. This past August, I was able to get a deal on a used Steam Deck OLED, and I haven't looked back ever since. With the Steam Deck, majority of the games that I wanted to play on my desktop, I'm able to play portably, and it's just opened up a world of opportunities to play games on the go, more leisure settings, and it's much easier to pop into a game here and there when it's portable. One thing that I have noticed with the addition of my Steam Deck is my desktop PC has kind of taken up a bunch of space and it's doing a whole lot of nothing. Really, it's just running my Plex server right now. For me, I found that the Steam Deck has really been a great machine for getting in some casual leisure gaming, and really has continued to grow my affection for games that I haven't played yet, or games that I played in the past and I want to go back and revisit. First things first, let's go over the Steam Deck that I have. I found a deal on a used OLED model. The OLED model and the LCD model have a lot of similarities, but there are a few distinct differences between the two. Both LCD and OLED model are using the same chip. The chips on the LCD and the OLED are the same chips. The only difference is the die on the OLED model is a little smaller. What that equates to is less heat and better efficiency, so you get a little longer battery life out of it than you would the LCD model. The other big difference is the screen itself. With the OLED, this is pretty much the pinnacle of display technology. You're gonna get rich, sharp colors, inky blacks, high contrast for those bright scenes in games, and overall it's just going to look amazing compared to the LCD. Now, I have not played on an LCD model before, but I have seen a lot of reviews saying that the screen on the LCD is still very great. So don't let that be a determining factor to only get one or the other. The other difference is the LCD model is a 60 Hz screen while the OLED has a 90 Hz. I found a lot of games don't really hit 60 if you're playing the big AAA games, but one of the things I like to use my Steam Deck for is playing retro games, and with those retro games I easily hit 60, and sometimes I can push it to the full 90. I've got three main things that I really like about the console, and then there's three main things that I have some issues with. The first pro, in my opinion, is what I use it for the most, and that's for emulation. This chipset can handle up to PS2 and Xbox games with ease. I've tried to dabble in PS3, Xbox 360 emulation, but that kind of gets a little tough for the chipset. Other classics like GameCube, any handheld really, it runs flawlessly. The second pro for this is just the ability to play so many games. At its core, it's really just a handheld PC, so you can play so many games out of the Steam library or other non-Steam games with ease. The chipset is powerful enough to play some modern AAA games, but there's also so many old PC games that you can play that this opens up a whole new world of possibilities with. One of my favorites lately has been playing Red Dead Redemption. I never got to play it on a PS3 or an Xbox 360 back in the day. Having the Steam Deck has given me the opportunity to play through the storyline and just enjoy being a cowboy out in the Wild West. The third pro, and what I think separates it the most from other handhelds in its class, is the Steam interface. A lot of these other handhelds are just running Windows, and Windows is not really made for touch screens or for controllers. Valve did an amazing job building SteamOS from the ground up with the hardware in mind. With pros, there's always some cons, and I got three for the Steam Deck. The first one comes with age. The APU on it is starting to show its age a little bit. The chipset on it is a 4-core, 8-thread processor with a dual-core GPU, and it handles everything really well, but as we're getting more demanding games coming out, it is showing its age on what it can and can't handle. My second complaint is neither model has variable refresh rate on the displays. I've been playing through Hogwarts Legacy on my Steam Deck, and I have noticed at times that if the frame rate drops below 30, it starts to get really choppy and there's some screen tearing. Some other gaming handhelds have variable refresh rate in the displays, and it's just a nice touch to have. My third and final con is the 90Hz refresh rate on the OLED display. Like variable refresh rate, other gaming handhelds have 120Hz displays, and just that extra bump into that higher frame rate opens up a lot smoother gameplay, a lot more headroom for some older titles, but I do know that it comes at the cost of battery life. There's some other creature comforts of the Steam Deck that I really enjoy. One thing I like to do is really use the back buttons on the Steam Deck. For first-person shooters like Halo, I like to assign the L4 and R4 to the L3, R3 button commands, so that way I'm not having to mash my joystick in and potentially cause stick drift. One thing that's really nice about the Steam Deck also is it's built on Linux. Linux, as it's commonly referred to, is a very lightweight operating system, which leaves extra headroom for games to get better performance out of them as compared to a Windows handheld. There's also these really cool touchpads on them. I really appreciate the trackpads for when I need to go into desktop mode. I wish they would integrate them a little better than just a trackpad and a scroll wheel for them, but there's plenty of room to grow with that. And so those are the things I really love about my Steam Deck. Some of you might be watching this because you're interested in getting one. I know there are rumors about a Steam Deck 2 coming out. It doesn't seem like we're going to get a Steam Deck 2 this year or maybe even next year. So if you are in the market for one, I definitely would suggest grabbing one. Even if you can find a deal on an LCD one, I think it is a great buy. If you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.